Today is a beautiful day. I last night was claiming that today would be a magnificent day. And as we pulled up, Poet was parked and she said, "Why don't we have service outside today? It's so beautiful." And it was just like a confirmation of what we were saying. And eventually we may just do that, have service in the courtyard, because it's such a beautiful day. It is truly a beautiful day in the world, and it's a beautiful day in our hearts if we choose to have that. It's a beautiful day in our life if we choose to have that. The thing is that wherever we go, we are going to be there. When I left California and came to Florida, I was there. So whatever I brought with me in consciousness, God bless you, no matter what I brought in the U-Haul, what I brought in consciousness came with me. And I left a lot in the house that we lived in because it couldn't fit in the U-Haul. And some of those boxes, my husband will attest, is still in our garage, and it has gone from garage to garage to garage. But that's not the point this morning. We're not going to go there. But the thing that I want to talk about is that we cannot escape who we are. We cannot escape ourselves unless we choose to change from the inside out. We have to make a conscious choice to align ourselves with something different. And another thing is that we can never escape God, because we are the temples that house the living God. God is within us at all times. Now, it's up to us to turn within and recognize that truth. And when we do, we can feel it, we can touch it, we can sense it. And then we can call on it and call it into our experience and our expression. We can have conversation with it and live with it and commune with it. And we can call it forth and speak with it and ask it and call it forth into form, into creating in our outward experience into form. And yes, sometimes we can feel that God is not with us, but the truth is God is that part of us that created us, is living life as us right now, and always will, even when we drop this form. Just as a caterpillar drops the form of the caterpillar, it goes on as the butterfly. So even when we drop this form and go on into our next expression, we will still be God expressing. I'm really happy and grateful about this magnificent day and the wonderful joys that it holds. And I really do expect and believe today to be beautiful and wonderfully joy-filled. And because I am standing in that place, that is what I am going to manifest. Where you stand in consciousness, what you focus on in consciousness is what you call forth in experience. And I know we talk about that a lot from different angles and different ways of bringing it forth. Today, I want to share with you 4 simple steps or processes that show us how to utilize our consciousness to produce forms that serve us all the time in all areas of our lives. And they're really simple. They're really, really simple when we just let go and let God. This morning before meditation, I offered this, and I'm going to offer it to you, for those of you who weren't here for the meditation. Even if you can't swim, let it go and just imagine that maybe there's a pool full of cotton balls, maybe, if you don't want to do the water piece. But you're standing at the edge of the pool, and your back is to the pool, and your arms are outstretched, and you just let go. And you just drop. And you know that these cotton balls are just gonna, they're just gonna be there. It's just full of these cotton balls, and it's gonna feel so good. Or maybe you're on a trampoline and or maybe it's just you fall back into that great pool of water. I swim and I like to swim, so I imagine it as a pool of water, but I can imagine that for someone who doesn't swim, that might not feel so nice letting go into a pool of deep water. So just count it as cotton balls, a pool of cotton balls, and you just let go into that fluffy goodness. And you are welcomed into the arms of that goodness, and it just supports and surrounds you. And it becomes a playful, delightful thing for the soul. And it's so joyful that you want to do it again and again and again. Well, that's what I'm talking about. The great master teacher Jesus tells us in Mark 10, the 27th chapter, that with God, all things are possible. The Bible also tells us that we are children of God, which makes us heirs and heiresses to all the good there is. However, it's up to us to claim that inheritance. Now, if there was money sitting at, now I know for a fact because I experienced this, my father had filed a lawsuit in California. None of us knew about it. And 19 years later, and 10 years after my father's death, he won the lawsuit. Well, none of us even knew that it had happened, me and my sister and my brother. And then a lawyer was trying to contact us looking for the heirs to this money. And my brother and my sister were like, I'm not calling that lawyer back. He might want something else. He might want us. He might be coming after Daddy for something. And so I said, well, I'll call. And I called, and it turned out that there was something waiting for us, something really wonderful. We were heirs to abundance that we didn't even know was there for us. And there is an abundance of every good and wonderful thing that we are heirs to right now that already is ours. And as Deepak Chopra talked about this morning, it's already within you. And we've just got to call it up, accept it, claim it, know it's ours, and then take possession of it. Take possession of it. It is ours by divine birthright. So do you have that much so far? That we cannot escape God, that wherever we go, well, first of all, wherever we go, God is present because we are present. Secondly, that our consciousness, it definitely makes a difference. What we're thinking, what thoughts we hold, they make a difference. Thirdly, with God, everything is possible. And it's up to us to take possession of our divine inheritance, our good. So those 4 things. So I'm going to start out with wherever we are, God is present. So I want you to just kind of become aware of the fact right now that you are inundated, filled with, surrounded by, and immersed in this presence, which is all powerful. Not only is it surrounding you everywhere, but it's inside of you at the same time. Amazingly and wonderfully, it is within you and it is overflowing with goodness. So it's just like a spout, just spouting up water. And it's just spouting up and spouting up and spouting up. And you're just filled to overflowing with it. And it's just bursting through you. And it's all around you. And it's in everything. Everywhere you go, this essence is. It is the very essence of you. And it is the very essence of everything else everywhere. Wherever you go, God is there. First of all, God lives inside of us. We talked about that. God is there because you are there. God is in this room because you're in this room. You brought God in here this morning. Going beyond that, everything that is made up of the same substance. It is being proven in science today that when we look at things at their deepest level, whether it's a hard podium, our bodies, anything, a piece of metal, when it is looked at, Spirit is speaking. All right, amen. Whenever we look at it, whether it's a plant, no matter what it is, when we look at it, it is God at its very essence. So we get that God is wherever we are. There's no place we can go anywhere in the universe that God is not there. You got that? So wherever we are, God is present. Wherever we are, God is, okay? Now, our consciousness makes a difference. My invitation to you today is to accept into your awareness that everything is well and that all is okay. Become aware that everything and everyone is working together for you to experience your greatest good. Whenever you see somebody or that somebody is walking or talking, or no matter how they're showing up, just know they're working for me. They're working for my good. That's what I know. No matter what's going on, they're working for my good. That's all I need to know about them. In this moment, everybody's here for my highest and greatest good. And when you walk with that and you walk with that expectation, then people will rise to that expectation. They will rise to that expectation. But that's the thing. When you've got to be able to stand firmly in this awareness, really knowing it with all of your heart, and then it will be true, and nothing, no thing, no person, no circumstance will ever be able to stand against you. There is no opposition to God. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, once you understand this presence and surrender to this presence, the laws of the universe will automatically work for you. It'll just start clicking and moving, and things will just start happening synchronistically. People would just line up to open a door for you, and doors would just open and fly open, and things will happen so beautifully and wonderfully and synchronistically and awesomely, and you'll be saying, wow, you go, God, and you just keep on walking easily and effortlessly through your journey, and it won't be a struggle. It will be easy, and that is what we are called to create for ourselves. I offer that once there is a deep surrender to and embrace of the truth that God is good and God is wonderful and that God is for us, then things will seem to effortlessly begin to unfold for our highest and greatest good. Now, many of us already realize that there is something about us that is special and divine. We get that there is something about life that is just so delicious and good. And that this truth begins to resonate with us, and we align our ways of thinking, then we align our ways of believing and living and choosing and acting. Do you see it? We're getting in tune, and we're turning that needle, and we're just aligning with that believing and our thoughts and our choices and our acting and our living and our believing. And it's all aligning, and everything's coming into place. Do you just see it lining up? And it's just like a lock. When all the tumblers are in place, click. You got the combination to the safe, baby, and all the goods are yours. The goods are yours. You have the combination. So number 2 is our consciousness makes the difference. We've got to just align everything, get those tumblers of our consciousness in alignment, and it makes the difference in every way. Now, I'm going to share with you a story. First, I'm going to share with you about what Ernest Holmes said. So our founder, Ernest Holmes, says, there is no limitation outside our own ignorance. And since we can all conceive of a greater good than we have so far experienced, we can call in a greater good than we've experienced up until now, then we all have the ability to transcend previous experiences. The past, we can transcend it. He goes on to say, and we can rise triumphant above it. But then he warns us and he says, We shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through old mental reactions. If we keep showing up in the old way, that old paradigm is going to keep showing up for us. Now, there's this gentleman that I really, really enjoy listening to. He is a scientist he used to be a computer scientist, and now he really breaks down metaphysics and quantum physics so beautifully. His name is Greg Braden. And he tells this story about a woman who was diagnosed with cancer. And she had these tumors all throughout her body. And the doctors said, there's nothing more we can do for you. It's over. We've done everything we can. You've got only so much time to live. They suggested that she make her peace and then go home and die. That's right. She closed the door on that thought. She's like, no, you can take that and shove it. I'm not going to get in a line. She didn't align her tumbler with that. She said, no, thank you. That's a diagnosis. We get to determine the prognosis. She decided that there would be another outcome for her. And so she heard about, and there had been little whispers about a clinic in China where there had been some miraculous things going on. And so she went to that clinic in China. And she went there, and these 4 practitioners, and they said, oh no, we will do it, but we do it and we prove it. So she went in China, and she laid on the table, and 4 practitioners sat around her, and you can go on YouTube and you can watch it. And they actually hooked her up to a machine so that you could see the tumors. And they showed at one of those, it's like a sonogram machine, where like they put on a woman when you're having a baby and where you can see the baby. And they showed all the places where the tumors were. And they let you see them on the screen, and they left it there. And they all simply went into meditation, and they asked her, did she believe that she could be healed? And she said, yes, that was why she was there. And they began to just chant over and over again. I think they say 2 words. I can't remember what the words are, but I will get the website, and we will post it on our website, okay, this week, so that you can go on to the link and we'll find it and you can click on it. And they began to chant and chant and chant and chant and chant and chant and chant. And it took just over 4 minutes. And you watch on the screen as these tumors shrink and 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 disappear. And she was healed. They were gone. A diagnosis of death, I don't align with that. I'm going to try something different, take a different route. Healing, wholeness, divine potentiality. She is now cancer-free. So, that's what I mean when I say, with God, all things are possible. But we've got to align our tumbler with that truth and not allow minor deities, MDs, to set the diagnosis and the prognosis for our life. Yes, we go to doctors, and yes, we take the medication. I'm not telling you not to take the medication, because like Ernest Holmes, our founder, says, there's God in that too. There's God in all of it. So we don't judge it. We don't say, no, it's not real. For this woman, she just didn't want to accept death in that moment. And she said, no, I think I want to be here longer than the diagnosis that you have given. And so she made a different choice for herself. There's no judgment in what is going on in the body temple. None at all. There's no judgment if you're taking high blood pressure pills or anxiety pills, or you have anything going on in your body. That's what's up right now. But what I'm telling you to know for yourself, if you choose, that doesn't always have to be what's up for you. And that's the simple piece. The fourth step is that it is up to us to take possession of our good, of our divine inheritance. You see, there was a time when this woman's mind had been so aligned with cancer that she believed that this was her truth about her. And so it was her truth, and she lived that truth. However, when the cancer threatened her life, she realized that she didn't want that as her truth. She didn't want death as a truth. And so she began to align her thoughts and beliefs and her actions to go a different way, to choose something different. And she began to hold in consciousness a way of being and a new truth, which was being cancer-free and healed. You see and can imagine that she was really motivated in that moment to let go of her old mental reaction to her diagnosis. She was willing to let go of death in order to rise triumphant, transcending the limitation and experiencing something new. We must keep our focus. I invite you to really keep your focus only on the things you want to experience. Now, I have had the challenge in my own life of doing that at times. Sometimes in the process of thinking about what I want to experience, I was sharing with Mark and Matthew that yesterday I was in meditation. During the meditation, I was greeted with 3 of my fears: a spider, a scorpion, and a snake. It was actually a spider, the snake, and then the scorpion. And when I first saw the spider in my meditation, I was ready to jump out of my skin because I was meditating, and I saw the spider in my meditation, and I was supposed to be meditation on all things are possible, right? So then I changed the sentence to say, no, all things are possible, only the good. And so then after that, I said the spider went away, and then I saw a snake. And I said, oh, great, what am I creating? So in my meditation, I dropped down into meditation. And I literally, in my meditation, made my body that was in meditation, that was walking through this forest, drop down on the forest floor and start meditating. And I began to see my body as light. And I saw the snake as light and the trees as light. And I began to sort of see everything around me, the entire forest that was around me, because I was deep in this jungle in my meditation. And I began to see everything as made up of the same thing. And when I saw that the snake and I were actually the same energy, we were the same thing. The snake was the same light that I was. And so I saw the light, and the light saw me, and the light turned to me and said, you know, I wasn't going to bite you, but even if I had bit you, I wasn't going to inject you with my venom. And I said, that's nice, but I don't want you to bite me. And so the snake kept going, and then it kept turning back and saying, but even if I had bit you, I wasn't going to inject any venom. And I kept saying, that's nice, but I don't want to experience your bite. So you see where my mind was? I kept thinking about being bitten. And he kept saying, well, even if I bit you, I wouldn't have harmed you. And I kept saying, I don't want you to bite me. Instead of just letting the snake go because he was going away, it was like I kept getting his attention. Because I kept thinking, I don't want you to bite me. I don't want you to bite me. I don't want you to bite me. But what am I saying? Bite me, bite me, bite me, bite me. Right? But I'm trying to say, I don't want you to bite me. But so then finally the snake just gave up on me. And he just went away like, I wasn't going to hurt you. You know, I'm just, okay, whatever, lady. And he just like kept going. So in my meditation, I saw myself going back to where we were camping. And I went to get in my sleeping bag, and I saw my sleeping bag wiggle. And I was like, really? Come on, I'm trying to meditate here. And so I saw myself in my meditation. I'm shaking my sleeping bag, which is light. And drops out on the floor is a scorpion. Really? I have never seen a scorpion outside of a cage. So I'm like, okay. But the scorpion is light. And I said, what were you doing in there? He said, well, I was just looking for a place to hide. I said, but not in my sleeping bag. Now I'm talking to the scorpion. Not in my sleeping bag. I was getting ready to get in there. And if I had gotten in there, I probably would have scared you and you would have stung me. And he said, yeah. He said, well, you know, I'm not really used to dealing with humans. I said, well, I'm not really used to dealing with scorpions. I said, and in fact, I'm with a lot of other ladies, and if they come in the room, I'm not sure how they're going to respond to you. So I really invite you to leave. And will you just tell all your other little creature friends, don't come in this area. And when you see us, just make yourselves invisible, because I really don't want to have you as my experience. Now, I'm supposed to be going to Peru in November. Now I'm rethinking the trip. I'm like, am I going to be running into all this stuff in Peru? And that's where I was in my mind, and I was running into all this stuff. So I was just thinking, how can I shift this? I need to become the light and know that as the light, that we are one. And that as the light, oh, and I know what else I told the scorpion. I said, you can tell all your friends that I practice the art of ahimsa, which means I do no harm to anything living, that we do not harm each other. And I told him, I said, so tell all your creature friends, I practice ahimsa, and so I do no harm to anything living. And he said, I'll tell them, and he scurried out of the thing. I said, but I don't know about my other friends. Now, they might smash you if they come in, so you better go. So then he ran on out. But I remember telling him, I practice ahimsa. And I came out of meditation. And then this song came to me, and I wrote the song out and all the words, and I sang the song into my phone. Thank you, Faddis, for teaching me that trick. All these songs are coming through. But it's interesting how you can, in the process of holding your consciousness on, you want to focus on what you do want. And then what you do want will come to you. And in the midst of that, if you become aware, as I did, that you are focusing on what you don't want, I invite you to forgive yourself, let it go, and shift it up. And keep trying, keep working with it. Don't give up. Because I stayed with that meditation, and I just kept working with it and working with it and working with it until I found myself in such a beautiful place that I was flying through the sky. And I was manifesting. I was in an auditorium preaching to a bunch of people. And I was like, I want to give them a gift. And I said, I want to give them the gift of their greatest desires. But then when I saw what they were desiring, some people were desiring a whole lot of strange stuff. And I was like, no, I can't give them that. Stuff will start popping up. Naked people will be in the room, and all kind of stuff will start showing them. I was like, no, I can't do that. So I said, I'll give everyone a gardenia. And I gave everyone a gardenia in their lap. And then I thought, well, I remember Cindy sharing this with me. So what if people have these gifts to bend spoons and do all these great things? How does that help the world? I remember you saying that one time. How does that help the world? So how having these gifts does that help the world? And so I decided, I want to feed the hungry and give water to everyone who's thirsty. How about that? That's a great way to help the world, to use the gifts. So I invite you to shift and focus on what you do want. Focus as hard as you can on what you do want. And if you don't want it, do your best to not think about it, because your focused thoughts and beliefs, fueled by your emotions, feelings, and actions, take form. The Bible tells us in Philippians 4:8, whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, and of good rapport, think on these things. You see, we must keep our focus and attention on the goodness of God. Ernest Holmes, and I'm going to close with this, says, where God is recognized, there is life. Where the presence of God is realized, there is action. Where the good of God is acknowledged, there is peace. The Bible tells us, I will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on me. So when we keep our minds focused on God, we will be aligned. Those tumblers will be aligned with the good. It is up to us to take possession of our good by aligning our thoughts, our actions, our beliefs, everything with that good. So, dear ones, I say keep your mind on the goodness of God, and that is definitely what you will live. Namaste. Namaste.